This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Welcome along, thanks for joining us for Premier League tonight. It's basically a football debate show for an hour and it's all about you. So all you need to do is get in touch, use the hashtag PL tonight to share your thoughts. Stephen Manaman is with us, already correcting me. What did I call the show just before the break? BT Sports Score. And within about 2 seconds.
Which is hard enough to say anyway.
Isn't it? Oh, how's your throat?
It's okay, actually.
It's
okay.
Only just?
Okay.
Well, we'll find out. Okay.
I just don't have to shout.
Robbie does all the shouting. No one else needs to shout when Robbie's in the studio. We could just...
I didn't know you were called you.
What?
You said it's all about you, the show the fans, but I didn't know you were called you. I got it. It's all about you.
Oh, he does jokes as well. Let's have a look at the headlines from today, because it's been a cracking day in the Premier League for Crystal Palace. Look at that photo. Look at the joy on her face. Finally, 3 points on the board, and not only that, it came against the champions as well. So that's the first headline for us today. Jose Mourinho. We'll be asking the question during the show this evening. That man is employed to win points, win matches. He got 3 trophies in his first season at Manchester United. Is he just doing what he's paid to do? Does it matter how he plays football? We'll discuss that throughout the programme. And Seventh Heaven, we'll talk about how utterly brilliant Manchester City are as well. So thoughts on any of those topics and anything else, then join the debate. Use the hashtag PL tonight. We'd love you to get involved in the show. But let's just sort of finish off this conversation that we were having about Watford and the penalty incident. It's going to be very interesting, as Martin says, to find out what this panel are made of, because Robbie's made the point, this isn't a blatant dive in Robbie's book, because there's a tiny bit of contact and the players are rubbing alongside each other, they're next to each other.
Very much so. In commentary, I didn't think it was a dive. I thought it wasn't a penalty, but at full speed, straight away, even I had to see a couple of replays to see if the left leg did come across and bring him down. In effect, it didn't. But it certainly didn't look like a dive. So it'll be interesting to see if someone stands
But that's why the referee gave a penalty, probably, because it didn't look like a dive.
Exactly,
but we have the benefit of the replays, and there's not enough contact for him to fall.
We've got replay, of course, slowed right down on the legs to see if there's a lot of contact. There was certainly contact further up above as well. Whether it was fair, it was a shoulder to shoulder. So there was a lot of contact to make him go to ground. Yeah. But I think you'd be a very brave man to say that was a blatant dive. So I'll be interested to see what the panel do say. I don't think it was a penalty. I think he went down far too easy. But to actually call him a dive, therefore a cheat, because we associate cheating and diving with like no contact and people just throwing themselves to the ground. I don't think that was like that, to be very honest. But I certainly don't think it was a penalty, and I think Arsenal were hard done by, because it did change the dynamic of the game.
OK, well, Marco Silva has just emerged from the Watford dressing room and he's talking to Des. Let's hear from him.
You must be absolutely delighted with that comeback in that second half performance, Marco.
No, it's true. Very, very good second half. I didn't like the first, really. I think during the first half, I know we play against very, very good team. A team with a lot of individual quality. In one moment they can solve the problem, they can solve the match. But I think we play like we plan, without scare, with confidence, only during 10-15 minutes. And after we start to give for our opponent some chance for them to stay comfortable in the match. After they score in one moment, in one set pieces, I didn't like really when we conceded goals in that moment. We spoke during the half time, and the first thing I said for our boys, we need to play without shy. When you play one game with shy, you don't put your plan, you don't play with confidence. I think our second half we play really, really well, but more our attitude. Like you play with, we respect Arsenal, of course, it's a big team, but you play with big confidence. You can change the result. Even after 1-1, we continue in our way to try to win the match. We got 3 important points to us, and of course everybody's happy.
He's building something special here. It's a shame in many ways that the incident that we've just spent 20 minutes talking about is going to overshadow what was a great performance and another 3 points for Watford. It feels like they're building something here, doesn't it?
Yes, it's great to see what they're doing. I actually didn't think it was a great performance. I thought it was a great half an hour. I didn't think it was a great performance. I thought the first 60 minutes was woeful. I thought they were insipid. I thought they were toothless. And until he brought Troy Deeney on, looked as if it was just going to peter out to a 1-0 quite boring victory for Arsenal. But they went a bit more direct. They went a bit more aggressive. We know his strengths, Troy Deeney, when he comes on. He gives the defenders more to think about than just free headers up the field. If Mertesacker won a header, the header bounced there because of the pressure Troy Deeney gave him, and I just thought that gave them a lot more impetus further up the field.
They played,
so it was a masterstroke that he brought him on. He came on to 4, didn't he?
I think they wanted to do that, because of what happened against Man City, and they wanted to, didn't want to get thumped again. He changed that around, and really in the end, I think the second half it was a case of, look, let's show what we're made of. Yeah. And they really did come out, and Arsenal really couldn't deal with it. I think the Welbeck going off was a big call for Arsenal. And then really Sanchez and Giroud coming on, they just didn't light the game up.
But before the goal, before the Troy Deeney and certainly the penalty, they had a great opportunity with Iwobi. It was a lovely save from the goalkeeper, wasn't it? Yeah. And then we talk about the Ozil chance as well that you've already spoken about in great detail. So little things like that just change the makeup of the second half in the game eventually.
Indeed. Well, there's plenty more football to talk about. It's been another cracking day in the Premier League. So let's do just that, starting with the biggest shock of the day. Palace and Chelsea fans, get in touch right now. Use the hashtag PL tonight because we're going to be talking about your two clubs after this. But first, here's Terence and Rory and their story of their day.
So here we go. Glutton for punishment. Back to Crystal Palace for another perceived no-hoper, I guess. At least Wilfried Zaha's back today. Hopefully he can bring some magic that at least gets us a goal. Can we have a goal?
This is the very definition of a must-win fixture. We dropped points against City, we weren't good enough, so we need to bounce back. And I think when you've played 7, won none, scored no goals, the last thing in the world you want is Eden Hazard and the champions turning up. Turns out I don't know what I'm talking about. I thought we were going to smash these today, and they were far too good for us. From the first couple of minutes, it proved that they were so up for it, and we looked lost. I think it's a disgrace that the board have let us get into a situation where we don't have a striker that our manager rates, and we're out of the title race in October. It's a new low for Chelsea Football Club.
I mean, just when you think you've seen it all with Crystal Palace, you realise that you haven't. Somehow we've found a way to beat Chelsea 2-1 at Selhurst Park here, and returning Wilfried Zaha. Brilliant performances from Andros Townsend and James McArthur. I don't even know what else to say. Just that I'm going out on the town now, guys.
That is what football is about, isn't it?
The Chelsea fan, I've been in a situation where I've made a prediction and at the end of the game I don't know what I'm talking about. That was brilliant there. But, you said about Chelsea with a striker. Tammy Abraham was on loan at Swansea. He's got 2 goals today. And listen, at the start of the season, you'd have said, will Tammy Abrahams be in the Chelsea team? No. Obviously, Morata's been brilliant for him, didn't play today. But can you believe football, eh?
Oh.
Seven
that raw emotion at the end. I mean, this is an interesting tweet that we saw from Doc Brown. And he says, many non-Palace fans may not realise it, but losing 7 games with no goals and then beating the champions is the most Crystal Palace-y thing ever. And it is ridiculous. Like Robbie says, how do you explain that to anyone?
Well, I think sorry, Matt, I was just saying about Zaha. How long have they been waiting for him? He came back as if he hadn't been away. Yeah. That spark, Townsend played an awful lot better today. We saw clips of it during the afternoon. And then Roy Hodgson, everybody coming for him saying, well, look, should he be sacked now? Because we're in 8 games. They haven't scored a goal. And boy, I mean, he'll be enjoying that tonight. And they're only 4 points now from safety, which is remarkable.
Frank Lampard said on this very show last week he thinks they're gone, and I turned to Stephen and Rio and said agree or disagree. They both agreed. Suddenly, when you look at the fact they've beaten Chelsea and they're only 4 points from safety, it feels so different all of a sudden.
Oh, they've had a terrible run of games, haven't they? But their performances have been really bad. But today is why we love it so much, isn't it? Before the game, Chelsea banker away win. But of course, when you go to an away ground across London, it's always going to be difficult. Every away game is always hard. We know the atmosphere at Palace is always electric. It's always bouncing. Zaha was back and was excellent. Townsend was back and they caused Chelsea infinite problems. And then throw the fact that Chelsea are really short up front. Really short up front is a huge problem for the champions.
Sat on the bench. You look at Conte now. He's suddenly last year couldn't get anything wrong. Yeah. Now I think these little subtle changes when people aren't, the first team players aren't available, he's not getting it right.
So you know what? Now when people say like Manchester United have played nobody yet, with the exception today, Liverpool, they only played so many teams. Every game in the Premier League is difficult, and today proves that.
And when you're missing a couple of players, Morata, Kante, and things like that. You would never think Chelsea. You would never, ever have thought that Chelsea have left themselves short. I'm absolutely amazed that a couple of injuries in. and they look like, you know, a ghost side of they were last year. They were big and strong and powerful last year. They're not.
Where's Chelsea's title defence now? They're 9 points by Man City. Is it over? I mean,
I would say it's over. Yeah.
Well, already after 8 games.
I didn't fancy them to win the league anyway.
Such is the excellence.
Come the end of the transfer window, so it's not surprising me, no.
They're so excellent, City now. And we talk about being ruthless on a football pitch.
Yeah.
And we talk
But before the beginning of the season, or certainly at the end of the transfer window, would you say, hand on heart, that Chelsea were your favourites to win the league? I don't think anybody chose them. So that's what we all thought about it.
Why did they let Matic go? Well, Costa, of course, fell out. But they're weaker this year than they were, very obviously weaker.
Yeah, obviously weaker,
during the transfer.
It's interesting. It's not about how Chelsea do, is it? It's like you don't see Manchester City dropping those 9 points over Chelsea. It just feels too much.
Didn't City win the first 10 games of the season last year?
Yep.
You know, so let's see.
Competition, first 5 games.
Well, Chelsea can't lose any more games if they only lost 3, I think, last year in their championship victory at the champion. Didn't they? So they've lost 3 already this year. So I mean that can't, shows you instantly what they're fighting against, and then throw in the fact that they're going to have to travel in the Champions League as well. Makes it doubly as hard.
We've got some great social media actually coming into us. Colin Williams says incredible performance from Palace, extreme lows and highs, but that's what this club is all about. Katie_CPFC, there are no words to describe that. The pride and passion was back and the atmosphere was unbelievable. And Dan's had a good day. He says, I've got a nipper on the way, boy or girl, Wilfred Zaha Cooper. Has a definite ring to it, don't you think? So there you go, that's the decision. Poor child gets a little girl called Wilfred, but it was good for himself. There was a moment last week after they lost the game where people started talking about the Derby team that you played in, and are they going to have these points and break their record? But were there moments like this in that season after you joined Derby where you sort of felt actually we've had a result and we're gonna kick on?
We never got a result.
It never happened.
I didn't win one game when I went there from January onwards. But when you look at that Crystal Palace side, you look at Benteke, I know he's injured, Zaha, you look at Townsend, you look at Kabay, you look at these type of players. Our Derby side, we had no match winners, we had no energy, we were, I'm not going to swear, we were shocking, absolutely shocking. You can even see in training.
You got me worried for a second.
You can even see in training, it was just all the energy, enthusiasm had been taken out of the lads. But you see that Crystal Palace team, you think, well, he could score a goal.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think we must look at Roy, and this is just there's a start, perhaps, of turning it round. I mean, he was in a situation at Fulham where they were 2-0 down against Man City, somehow come back to win 3-2 and stayed up many years ago. He's been there before. And all he does, he doesn't look at the results, he just works with his team. With the ball, without the ball, and the improvement comes. If you work hard, players don't concentrate, they don't look at the results and the fixtures and they start getting the calculators out, see how many points they can get. Just work towards the weekend. And that was been a great...
I think you have to realise as well, they brought a few players in late, certainly Saka. I know he was on loan here last year, but he came in late in the transfer window. There's only been a month, and we've had the international break as well. So they'll get better now, and hopefully this is the catalyst to move forward.
Very good. OK, I think I spy someone in the back of the studio. Hello, Troy Deeney.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Very well. Come and say hello. We're going to take a quick break, and then Troy is going to be in the hot seat. Steve, do you mind being subbed for Troy Deeney? Is that a problem?
I made a man of the match. He was OK.
Congratulations. How was it out there today? Enjoyed that? Wonderful, Troy. Welcome.
It's a bit snug in here, isn't it?
It is a bit snug in here, yeah. Join us after the break. We're going to get Troy Deeney in Steve's chair, and we'll be talking. Actually, you work quite well there. That's fine. You're a bit tall for the studio. Join us in a couple of seconds. Any questions for Troy? Message of congratulations after today's result. Get them in now, and we'll speak to Troy in a second on Premier League Tonight. Well done.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
I've heard a lot in my time. Eavesdropped on politicians and police, misfits and masterminds. I've even heard murders. I've learned about life from wizards and warlocks, kings and queens. Through them, I've led 1,000 lives. Life's more interesting when you listen.
Audible. Download your first audiobook for free.
So he finally sold the house. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm really pleased.
Did you use purple bricks?
Why would I?
They're just online.
No, they're proper estate agents. Real people. You just don't pay commission.
No commission?
No.
Ah, commisery. The misery you feel when you spent thousands on commission but got nothing more for your money. Save yourself from commisery at purplebricks.co.uk.
What have these two fun lovers got in common? Yes! They traded in their games and phones at sex. Ooh. So now, armed with an epic smartphone, Aurora can share her glorious victories. And with a shed-load of sweet cashola, Ruben can finally water ski from a ruddy shark. We can't tell you how to spend your money. We can buy your games and phones. Sex.
There's no starting over, no new beginnings. Time raises on. Just gotta keep on keeping on. Be it for ease, be it for love. I won't take the easy road.
If you want to be a world traveller, start by... Whoa, is that a Galaxy S8 with Bigsby? Handsome screen. Anyway, you want to pack that and... Whoa, okay, we're on the move. You'll need a tour guide. Apparently not. Don't forget your big camera. Or that phone will do a cracker job. Travelling by yourself can be lame. And look at you, you've got a ton of new friends. Ooh, llamas. You've got to love a llama. I guess you've got this world traveller thing covered. Oh, that's a nice offer. Yeah, I like that. Sold.
Rugby's biggest names are here to play. Round 2 of the Champions Cup, live on BT Sport.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Welcome back to this evening's Premier League tonight after Watford's win over Arsenal here at Vicarage Road. Get in touch with the show right now. Use the hashtag PLTonight, particularly if you've got questions or messages for Troy Deeney. How are you feeling? And that was a nice little 30-minute cameo, wasn't it?
Yeah, not something I want to get used to, though.
No.
I want to be playing. But, no, the Gaffer made his decision. He tried to expose Mertesacker with Andre's pace. And, you know, then he put me on towards the end and let the big battering ram do his job. And did all right for a change. So, yeah, I just want to be back and back in the gym tomorrow, get ready for a big week, trying to prove that I can start next week.
Yeah, tell us how tricky it is when you're the leader at a football club, and you have been the leader here for a number of seasons. It's clear today how much they love you. How difficult is it when you are not leading on the pitch?
You know what, you have to put your selfishness to one side, because I'm the leader because I don't let my own ego get bigger than the team. So we just spoke off air about certain players for Arsenal that I think could do with that, because I don't think I'm better or I deserve a place just because I've been here for X amount of years. You still got to earn it. And there's a transfer window every 6 months, so I should have to prove myself every 6 months, otherwise I'll be out. So the club's moving forward, I can't stand still, and that's what I want to do.
There was a big debate about the penalty today, Troy, and I said, if I was on in a Watford shirt today, if I was a midfield and I see my centre forward who went up front at the time to play alongside you was going into the box at pace and there was a minimal contact, I'm saying to him as a midfield player, go down.
We've had a lot of decisions this season that have gone where we should have gone down and he hasn't. I think personally, full speed, I thought it was a foul, and I think if it was the other end, gives it and no one says a word. No one says, well, we've had 2 against Man City that we should have had in the first half, weren't given. No one says anything because it's little old Watford against the big boys. But if it's the other way around and we were winning, and let's just say Man City or Arsenal in this case, ended up losing the game, I've heard Wenger's already started blaming that's the reason they lost. Well, I'm not going to be one to tell Mr Wenger about himself, but there's a reason they lost, and it wasn't because of one penalty.
What do you think it was?
I have to watch what I say on leave, but having a bit of cojones, I think the word is. Having a bit of nuts.
I think you can get away with that.
Having a bit of nuts. Just having a bit of... Whenever I play Arsenal, and this is just personal, whenever I play against Arsenal, I'll go up and I think, let me whack the first one, and let's see who wants it. And I come on today, jumped up with Mertesacker. I didn't even have to jump, actually. Nod it down, the crowd gets up, we've got someone who can win it, and they all just backed off. So for me as a player, I just go, huh, happy days, because that's my strength. So if you're going to let me do my strength against you, you're going to have a tough afternoon.
Well, I hope
you must hate to hear that, though.
Well,
you must hate to hear
I hope
that.
the Arsenal players are listening, because I tell you, if my blood would be boiling if I was hearing that. Because the one thing I have to guarantee is that I'm up for a battle, and I'm going to be confrontational, and I have to. You've got to repel that kind of attitude from opposition, because that's what happens, and that's how Watford got back into this game today, and that was a given for the team that I played in. And if it's missing from the current group, Wenger has to seriously examine that. And you wonder whether that's ever really been replaced, that element of the game. Because you look at the types of the Vieiras and people very physically strong, and it's okay. Have they gone too technical? Was watching Barcelona on a Sunday night with his dinner on his lap, was that the pinnacle for him, and it went too technical? Because Arsenal have gone away. I thought that the start 11 was quite a strong 11, but when Welbeck went off, they lost some of that industry.
I just think personally, there's an element of that's the equaliser for me. Personally, I know I'm not technically gifted like they are. I'm not as quick. But if you want to fight with me, I'm going to beat you all day. So if you want to come into my world and do that, you can do that. But you've got to be at a level that your excellence of keeping the ball, being faster, getting in right positions are all 10 out of 10s. Because my equaliser is I'm big, I'm strong, I do all the ugly stuff you don't want to do, and I'm going to make it horrible for you.
And in the end, that won out because Arsenal didn't pass the ball well enough. They didn't create enough. And they had the chances to finish the game off, but didn't have the quality.
Or the ruthlessness. I heard you say that before I came in. I think you touched on Man City, but I don't think there's many teams, the top teams, the elite teams, that would have the chance that Ozil had and be so naive and just nonchalant with it.
You mean nonchalant with his reaction to missing it?
No, with the finish. Yeah. You've got. I'm an old school Arsenal. I love watching Arsenal. My son's an Arsenal fan, so Wrighty don't miss those.
No.
Thierry don't miss those. Even Petit, Vieira, Merce, they go through. They're ruthless.
It's not a lack of talent. So what is it?
It's ruthless because I think this is what it starts from behind them. I think if they would have missed it when any of you boys were playing, you'd be like, "Hey, finish that."
It's a mentality.
Missed it, and it was like, "Oh, we'll get another one." Unfortunately, this is the Premier League now, and everyone's catching up, and you don't get another one.
I think Martin's right with Bellerin. The reaction, even if there's hardly any contact there, if I had been Bellerin then, or Martin, I'm sure, we'd have been and Troy, we'd have been going up to the referee. I'd have got a yellow card off the referee because for my anger, I'm saying I didn't touch him, ref. Although there was minimal contact, it went down too easy. I'd be going mad.
Does it start with a niceness? You know, I remember George Graham saying to me when I first came to the club, "You're too nice." I know we don't want people to get around referees, but you know you have to compete for every single decision, every tackle. You scrap for everything, and it seemed that Bellerin was a little bit too accepting of that. I'd have gone berserk.
It's the fine margins, isn't it? We speak about the 1% in football.
But if your opponent knows, and you're telling us, you know, if you know this, the rest of the Premier League know it.
Yeah,
you keep working hard, you'll overcome Arsenal because they're not able to fight for long enough.
Look at the losses. I think the loss of Stoke as well already away this year. So that shows that these so-called people look at us as the lesser team, but we're looking at Arsenal now that we can beat you. We don't go there with that aura, that fear anymore.
What was Marco Silva's message ahead of this game, both in the week and in the dressing room before?
Obviously, we changed formation, so he's trying to get the tactical side over it. At half-time, to be fair to him, he let the boys have it. He wasn't happy at all. We showed him too much respect to try to out-football Arsenal. And it goes back to what I said, the equaliser is, they're always going to be better than us at that for the next foreseeable future. So we need to go and get in their faces, play to our strengths, get Richarlison the ball, let him get at people.
He's good, isn't he?
He's a good player, but when you've got someone with speed running at you, that's the defender.
How good is he? I was really impressed.
I think he can do whatever he wants, but we have to be careful. He's 19. He's a young baby. He's already been playing since the start of January, I think, in Brazil. So he's a baby. So if you look at the first 60 minutes, he wasn't quite at his normal high standards, but you've got to expect that. I'd say he's 19.
You know, obviously, you're a current player, as we can see, and because the game's so fast now, you know, where is the line? Because we've had a big debate in here. Was it a dive?
Or you're still talking about the penalty.
Because I'm interested.
Robbie is not moving on from this topic.
I'm interested because Troy's a centre forward, and where is the line as a centre forward when you're sprinting to the box at full pelt like Richarlison was? Where is the line for you in your eyes to think he's touched me there? I'm going to go over.
I'm the wrong person. I'm a big boy. It hurts me to go down. So I've had numerous occasions where I thought I've been bundled to the ground. There was one in the second half when Mertesacker come clean over the top of me. Now, I don't get those decisions, but the little whippets who get the little touches, they're the ones who go down, and it only takes a little touch to go down. And I'm not having it to dive. I know the kid is. I'm not having it to dive. I'm sorry.
Tell us what he's like behind the scenes. Do you put your arm around him? Do you spend time with him?
Yeah, you try to. Obviously, he's trying to learn the language.
Yeah.
Obviously, culture shock, moving from Brazil to London.
Attitude?
Great kid. Spot on. Wants to work. Loves the physical side of it. That was the only fear for me when he come in. You tend to put the Brazilian boys as flary and not really up for the fight. But he's the first thing he come on against Liverpool. He went in 50-50 with Henderson and then jumped up for a header with Lovren. I thought he'll do for me straight away. And he's just.
Well, he went down here, didn't he? We thought he dislocated his wrist early in the game, and we thought that might affect him, but he's back up and back.
I think it was a goal against Bournemouth as well early in the season.
Yeah, he gets across the front post. Yeah, throws himself.
The problem will be trying to keep hold of him because the way that he moves, you wouldn't want to talk about that. But the way he moves, he reminded me of an Anelka.
Yes,
because he gallops and he takes players on. He's asking questions and he wants to score goals.
Yeah, and every time he gets it, he's going that way. He's driving the team 50 yards up the pitch, and I think that's massive for any squad to have a player of that ilk. You look at Crystal Palace; they've got Wilf Sahara who can do that, and it's massive when they come back into the team.
Yeah. We should do it with that, or you might have him sold before you know it. There's loads of questions coming in for you. Ben Trant, thanks for all your messages. Says, is Troy Deeney the most well-spoken player I've ever seen? Loving Premier League tonight. Curtis Hobart, an honest Premier League player. I love that. Troy Deeney is going hard on Arsenal tonight, says Manish Pandey. And Ken says, wow, Troy Deeney with some home truths for Arsenal right there. Nate says he played 30 minutes, got a goal, got man of the match, then stayed on the pitch to celebrate with the fans. I love that by Deeney. He's a class act. A question here from Matt. What are Watford's targets for this season? How far can they go? And Ryan, at the same time, not that they want to put pressure on you, can Watford finish top 6? They're asking this season. Yeah, already. Have you discussed it?
No, we don't discuss it. I'm not the cliche person who says we look at each game and do that. But that's at this moment of the season, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to target that. But I think we can finish top 10. I'm very confident in saying that. I look at the squad we've got. I look at the players we've got to come off the bench. Obviously, you had myself, Carrillo, Capu coming off the bench today. You had Ben Watson, and Will Hughes not even in the squad. We've got a massive quality within our team.
We were surprised by Will not even involved, do it?
That's just look at the competition with places. Who are you going to take out? So he knows his job is to keep working, and he's still a young boy as well. So there's a lot there to work with. But now it's the midfielders of now are not little players anymore. You've got to be robust. You've got to be athletic. You've got to be able to do everything. You can't just be a really good player, which he is, but you have to have.
Troy, has things changed much on the training ground with this manager? How good is he? Because a lot of people are saying big things about the manager.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of him. Massive fan, not just with what's on the pitch, but the way he carries himself. Sets a standard, and literally last season everyone knows it was a bit
toxic, wasn't it?
Unorthodox is the word I'll use. But yeah, it was worked great. And obviously he come in at pre-season, and some people can go, right, this is the standard I want to get to, but because you've had this so bad, we'll get to here, we'll wait. He just went, this is what it is. I think we lost 3 people through injury in the first week. It's like, don't worry, you're going to have to catch up. Bosh. Everyone gets to this level. A few people got left behind, and the squad.
You've had 7 managers in 3 years.
I'm about to say 2 years, isn't it? Something like
3 years. So you want that stability. You need that stability now.
Yeah, we do. But also, I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, people are going to start asking questions, and you can't begrudge him to move if he's got a better offer. I'm not one of the people that say you should be blindly loyal to football, because football's not loyal to footballers. So it is what it is in terms of people coming and people going.
And there's been so much talk about what's changed at Watford. Just tangibly give us the answer on a day-to-day level as a player here. What is different now to last? I mean, we came here and the atmosphere was not good under Mazzari last season. It was toxic. So what's changed for you, though, on a day-to-day?
The clearest one is you've got a manager that you can understand. For a fan's perspective, if he speaks English and he's saying this is what we're trying to do, it's very simple. Keep things simple, keep things clear. And the players have responded to him, the fans have responded to him, and obviously results always help. First game of the season, we get a 3-3 draw with Liverpool, last-minute equaliser. Great. Go away, win 2 on the bounce away from home, and everything's roses. So now he's giving himself time, and now it's a case of just keep building on that. And I think when fans can see that everyone's giving their all for the shirt, that's the minimum requirement.
And how have you played it so far, not being in? Have you pulled the manager aside? Have you gone in his office? Have you asked for a chat? How do you deal with it?
I haven't had to. That's what I mean. Honestly, again, he told me I was rushing back for the Liverpool game. Obviously, I had an operation in the summer. And he said, look, we've just brought Andre in. Have an extra week, but you'll be back in the squad next week. It's just keeping me in the loop, so I don't have to think about it myself. I don't, oh, is he not picking me because I'm not fit? Oh, does he not like me? And it's a clear communication is massive for any player. These guys will tell you.
That's the most important thing. As a player, there's nothing worse. Why am I not playing? Why am I not in the squad? So that, you know, I've had managers like that. I've had managers who don't say why you're not playing.
Yeah. There has to be a plan for every player, and you have to meet the needs of every player that you possibly can. And, you know, I think it helps. He's played the game himself, and he can actually keep an eye on things. And, yeah, I think he's destined for big things. You're hearing lots of stories coming out. I was listening to Michael Owen on this programme a few weeks ago, and obviously, clearly, he's spoken to the players. There's good noises coming out, and the most important thing is the results. And everywhere he goes, he nearly turned it around at Hull. I think he won 6 out of 18 games there when they were going nowhere. He just missed out, and he's certainly doing big things here.
There's a few more questions coming in. Matt says, great performance in the studio and on the pitch by Troy Deeney tonight, a true Watford legend. Adam asks, who's the toughest team you've played this season?
It'd have to be City. Obviously, it was a strange game when you look. I'm a weird guy. I watch the games back like 20 times and I try and pick holes and everything. Right. Yeah, I want to be a coach, so that's what I'm trying to do.
And you watch it, not your performance, but the whole team.
My performance. I watch what I did bad, mark myself, that kind of thing. And everyone in our team had 7 out of 10s, but we lost 6-0.
What did you have?
Me, I would come on for 15 minutes. I was a -6.
You were a 10. You gave yourself 10.
I was a -6. No, but like we played really well, but just the way they move, it's very difficult to close on one side because you've got Kevin De Bruyne might be at right back, but then Kyle Walker's right forward, and you're like, how do you plan for that? And the way they're playing at the moment is just frightening.
Absolutely, and you saw their result today.
Yeah, 7-2 again, was it?
Yeah. Right, before we go, this show is all about the fans. We've got a quick message that came in from Watford fan Andy. Andy, all yours?
I can't speak! How do you sum that up? Tom Cleverley in the 90s, something, whatever minute, I don't care. Watford are in the Champions League places, come on, you want it!
He's not getting carried away.
Not getting carried away. And I don't blame you for staying out there as long as possible. It was lovely. You gave your shirt to a kid at the end there, and we saw a lovely shot of him jumping up and down with his dad. You were the last to leave the pitch tonight. And there's a feeling here that something's going on. It's these late goals. They're just...
Yeah, but to be fair, I'm not giving myself any credit. I do that when we lose as well. I think it's massive. I'm from a normal working class background, so it's expensive to come and watch games. So even if you lose, the least you can do is thank you for coming. And if you give someone a shirt, it makes their year, their night, whatever it might be. So we've lost 6-0 to Man City, and I'm out there. There's been other nights when we've lost and we should have won, and everyone's giving me grief, but I still stay out there. You've got to be able to take it.
Good man. And what was your boy a ball boy or a mascot?
Nah, mascot. Yeah, it's going to be a long weekend. He's an Arsenal fan, so he's... you already know, you just know. I've got a text off him off his iPad already.
What's he said?
I hate you. So, yeah. So it's one of them.
He's out of order.
Yeah, so when Arsenal beat us here last year, he was bragging all weekend how great Giroud is and how bad his dad is, and then so this time it's my turn.
Love that. Your son goes to school to brag how bad his dad is.
Oh, he's my worst critic, honestly.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the worst.
Not today. You're going to go and tell him that Dad changed the game.
Yeah, pretty sure he'll give me a bit of grief, but it's all good fun. I say I'm just from a normal family and try and raise my.
I think Troy, the way your sort of slower rise to the top helps you appreciate it all the more, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, everyone knows my backstory as well. I've had it taken away from me like that as well for being stupid. So, yeah, there's a fine balance now. Obviously, I've just enjoy it. Like, life's too short. Like, I'm 29 now. Family are taken care of. My nan doesn't have to work. My mum sends me a text. My mum's here today, which is quite nice. She don't normally come to football. So yeah, I'm just happy.
Keep enjoying it.
Yeah, when I don't enjoy it, that's when I hang my boots up.
It's brilliant. Look, thanks so much for coming up and joining us. I know when you've been out there today, played as well as you have, you do want to go and celebrate and whatever. So we appreciate you taking the time and for your honesty as well. It was great. We ask our viewers for a 3-word match report. We're going to ask for them in a minute. Can you give us yours for Watford today?
3-word.
Yeah.
Nervous, brilliant, exciting.
There you go. Nervous, brilliant and exciting. 3 points in the bag. And you're in the Champions League places?
No.
Ever the realist, Troy. Appreciate it. Good luck telling your kid into a Watford fan. And listen, anytime, you're welcome on the show. It was really interesting.
Really appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you very much. Top man. Troy Deeney, man of the match, everyone. Well done, Troy. Keep your thoughts coming in, 3-word match reports, and we'll be back straight after the break when Steve McManaman returns to the fray. Disappointing for everyone, I know. See you in a second.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
This is the real South Africa, my friends. Doesn't get much more romantic than this. Just you, the moon, stars, leopards, lions, hyenas. Good luck.
Sometimes a taste is all you need, like the South African stack with smoky barbecue sauce, around until Tuesday. One of the great tastes of the world at McDonald's.
Nivea Man Protect and Care gives you protection from dirt, protection from sweat, protection from dry skin, protection from everything. Well, almost. Nivea Man Protect and Care. Right. Ultimate protection from everything.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
There's no starting over, no new beginnings. Time raises on. You just gotta keep on keeping on. Be it for ease, be it for love. I won't take the easy road.
GT Sport, October 18. PS4 for the players.
For people, for plans, for 200 years.
Say goodbye to the same old faces, to the same grey skies and the same cramped spaces. Say hello to a world full of differences, differences that expand and enrich us, because after all, our lives aren't made better when we close ourselves off to the world. They are made better when we open ourselves up to it. Celebrity Cruises.
We do things different here. We fight for one another. We graft. We work. Never stop. Not until we can conquer no more. A kid from this day on the edge of world title glory. Who saw that coming? We did.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Back to Premier League tonight, just an hour of football conversation, debate and your opinions every Saturday night. Loads of people talking about Troy Deeney.
He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Very good, yeah.
He's you just look at him and think he would make a great coach or a great manager, don't you?
Great pundit.
Honesty. And a great pundit as well. We need one of them. Thomas says, great...
We need a few.
Great honesty from Troy Deeney on BT Sport. Nice to hear a Premier League footballer speak like that. Troy Deeney's a top man. Loved your spot on BT Sport tonight. It says Mancunian 56. Jay Naylor, good on you, Troy. Speaking lots of sense. You sound like a really down-to-earth fella. Steve Owen, fantastic listening to Troy on Premier League tonight. Speaks well, carries himself brilliantly. And Yazzie T on Twitter, really enjoyed Troy Deeney and his honesty. I wish more players would speak this genuinely. I think we would all echo that. Very quick, few three-word match reports. Pot and Hornet says Deeney must start. He's making a good case for it. Lee Thomas, Troy Deeney class. Liz Williams, season starts today. Who's she a fan of? Crystal Palace. Of
Palace.
course she's a fan of Crystal Palace. Right, let's move on then and talk about the day's early game. Or wasn't the most exciting of Liverpool-Manchester United matches, but this was quite an interesting quote from Jurgen Klopp at full time. He said, Manchester United came here for a point and got it. You could not play this way at Liverpool, but it's OK for Manchester United. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's true. I don't think it's OK for Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson to have done that every year, all the time. I think they showed a lot more. I get the fact that you go to Anfield and you make sure you don't concede and you make sure you don't lose the game, but I wanted to see a little bit more going forwards. It was the same last year, it's the same this year. I think, and I've said it before on numerous occasions, I think there's a number of clubs around the world who have to play the style of football that that they're accustomed to. And I think Manchester United, because of their history and because of their stature in world football, and I go along with Liverpool and Barcelona and Real Madrid and the Bayern Munich, they have to play, for me, in my opinion, entertaining football. And I was not impressed at all by them. They got a point and he'll be lauded for that, and I've got no problem with that. But do I enjoy it? No, of course I don't. I enjoy watching it.
I have a question, just with Macca there. He has to play winning football for me. And I think they could have won the game there today if he'd have played with Rashford and been more direct in the way that they play. They've been brilliant, Manchester United. But on came the handbrake, as we saw when he was the manager of Chelsea. I'm in charge of this group, not you. We'll play the way that I want you to play. And I just felt they missed an opportunity today to go to Anfield and say, do you know what, we're going to be champions.
And put down a marker, yeah.
And Man
because
City,
we've been talking about how great they've been, and they come across a rival, a team that, I mean, I know Liverpool not in the top 6, but a team that finished in the top 4 last year. This was their marker this year. City done it to Liverpool at the Etihad, winning 5. They've met a rival, and they just went, boom, we're shutting up shop today. And I was just disappointed, that's all it was.
You let the team off the leash, really. He could have done. And they could have surprised themselves how good they were. And you come away from Anfield, we're going to be champions. And City, what they're doing is excellence every week. And you've got to match it. It could be that that's the weekend they've lost the Premier League. Because you've got to have more goals than City, you've got to win more games than them, and that is that the stakes are really high. These two teams, believe you me, they're running away with the Premier League. And he just decided to have a weekend when he just sat on it. And he really should. If he'd have gone for it, then I think with Lukaku particularly, the one player who's made a huge swing, look what he's done to the team he's left and what he's done for the team he's gone to. And he was isolated for large parts of this game.
I know you're keen to join this conversation and make your point. Let's just very quickly hear from Jose Mourinho, because he had a right of reply.
When I brought Lingard and Rashford, was waiting for him to give him more space to counter. But he didn't give me. He didn't give me. So I know that probably you think we were defensive and they were offensive. Well, you are at home and you don't move anything. I don't know. I was waiting for that. He didn't. I think he did well, honestly. I think he did well.
So that's where Jose Mourinho lays the blame. This is a tweet from Oliver Kay, who writes for The Times. Totally understood Mourinho playing for 0-0 at Anfield last October when Man U were in a rut and Liverpool were flying. It's harder to understand with situations reversed. That's exactly what you guys have said. Why didn't he go for it? And the other tweet was from Dominic King. In 2 visits to Anfield as Man United manager, Jose Mourinho's side have had 2 shots on target in 180 minutes. Zlatan last year, Lukaku this year. Dominic's a Daily Mail journalist. There's in 51 games between these two sides, there's been 3 0-0s. They are the last 2 games at Anfield. So it's clearly a plan from Jose Mourinho. What do you think of Steve's opinion?
Well,
it's not the way you play football.
I don't think Mourinho's got to explain himself to anybody what he's achieved. They've scored 21 goals in 9 games. Yeah. Liverpool unbeaten at home this season in the league. Battered Arsenal 4-0. Battered Arsenal. Only conceded 1 goal, that was against Burnley. He can't win. He goes there, he gets a point. Anfield, by the way, we're talking about Anfield. OK, they were missing, I believe, their best player, Mane. They can't defend. Jurgen Klopp attacks teams, and they concede goals because they can't defend. He gets hammered. So that guy there, he hasn't got to explain himself to anybody. He knows more about football than I'll ever do. He knows how to set teams up better than I ever do. It's winning football. He wouldn't.
Don't get me wrong, I couldn't care less. He got a point today, and that's fine. Man United are second in the league. They're far ahead of Liverpool. I've got no problem with him going and getting a point. I couldn't care less what he does. But would I be impressed watching it? The answer is no. When I've seen, unfortunately for Manchester United and that man there, he's got the great teams of the 90s and the 2000s who just went and demolished teams and went away from home to Chelsea's and the Cities and the Arsenals and fought and won games. But he's being more pragmatic now, and I've got no problem with that. But are they going to win the league playing like that? When they down tools and just defend against the top 5 or 6? Well, I certainly don't think so.
I think he's got to go for it at every opportunity because City are that good. And I just would have loved to have seen those two teams today going toe-to-toe. A proper game of football. Instead, you know, this game was billed to be this huge match and it never really happened. And it's a disappointment for the Premier League. And it's there. Now, when they come to play City... Will they be able to do that? Will they be able to put their foot on the game in the way that they can? Because Chelsea tried to do that and couldn't. So let's see what happens. Obviously the head-to-heads are going to be important between these two teams. We're not going to write everybody else off in the Premier League, by the way, because you've got Spurs now coming back into it. Looks like Arsenal now are certainly out of it, that's for sure. But Manchester United miss an opportunity today, really, to say to themselves, because when you go to an Anfield, as I did with Arsenal, and you win there, it grows within you, we're going to do this.
It's a bit of a damp squib, isn't it, this fixture, unfortunately. It has. We have a big build-up on, isn't it going to be great? And actually, it's not, because last year was poor. The year before that, I think United won 1-0, and it was a poor game. It's actually not a great game anymore. They just nullify each other.
Yeah, brilliant.
Saying that Lukaku had the best chance of the game.
Yeah. And if he'd have taken it, what would we be saying then? After the break, we're going to be asking, which player do you miss the most from your football club? I think the boys have all got an opinion on this, and I'm sure you have as well. We asked it earlier on social media. Loads of people have been saying things from Sigurdsson to Walcott, to Robin van Persie. Get involved with us right now. Which player do you miss the most from your club for the final part of Premier League tonight? See you in a second.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Yet another hat-trick. That's his business. De Bruyne! Beautiful strike. Really nicely done. That's an excellent goal from Liverpool. As good as it gets on the Continental Road. Brilliant in Brussels. Manchester United are running riot. What a start to the Champions League campaign!
In the early 80s, two guys were born. Their names were Jeff and Andy. They grew up, developed facial hair, and one day, while buying razors, they wondered,
why do razors cost so much?
Jeff and Andy were confused, so they started their own razor company. They even bought a factory in Germany.
They bought my factory.
Jeff and Andy started to make razors that looked like they were designed on Earth, not in space. And by selling directly to you on the internet, Harry's can offer a quality shave at a fair price. Get started with a Harry's trial set delivered to you for $2.95. Harry's, shaving's other guys.
Nivea Man Protect and Care gives you protection from dirt, protection from sweat, protection from dry skin, protection from everything. Well, almost. Nivea Man Protect and Care. Right. Ultimate protection from everything.
Established in 2002, Watchfinder is where you'll get great value on thousands of pre-owned watches from over 50 brands like Rolex, Breitling, Omega, and more. There's everything from vintage classics to cutting-edge contemporary bestsellers. And every single one is inspected at our manufacturer-certified service center. All of our watches are in stock and available for free next-day delivery. Buy, sell, and exchange your watch online and in store at Watchfinder.
We've come a long, long way together through the hard times and the good. I have to celebrate your day.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we have been and always will be by your side.
I have to praise you like I should. There's no starting over, no new beginnings. Time raises on. Just gotta keep on keeping on. Be it for ease, be it for love. I won't take the easy road.
I'll be king of the crabs!
Your Majesty, it says the bills for that castle are crazy.
OK, then I'll live next to the king of the crabs!
Check the running costs on Zoopla.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Welcome back to this evening's Premier League tonight. It's time to talk about Manchester City. As you can see, they're all excited. So's this person.
So, I'm here after the game at the Etihad. I've lost count how many goals we've scored. Well, it was 7-2, an absolute goal fest. We played so well, and it's not just the goals. It's the way we play, the passing, the way when we've not got the ball, we go and up the ball down. We do it all. We're a fantastic team. I'm proud to be a City fan. The players should be proud to play for City too. So it's been an absolute fantastic game for us today. Get in, City! That's all I can say. Woohoo!
Brilliant. I love a bit of Braden Bent on Premier League tonight. I mean, at the moment, they're the antithesis of Manchester United in terms of the way they're playing football, aren't they? They are just brilliant.
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. I don't know whether the lads, because they came up to the studio, but they went 3-2 at one stage, and you thought, oh, this is getting a bit interesting. And then he just ran down the other end and went goal, goal, goal. Yeah. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne was out of this world and came off. He brought him off just to save him for the Napoli game during the week. But they are absolutely frightening at the moment. Talk about options that they can bring on to score goals. Everybody joins in the party today.
Some of De Bruyne's passes, you could almost have a team of engineers out there for an hour looking at the angles that he's producing in a split second. He can find gaps and openings that just don't exist. He really is.
How good
amazing.
is he becoming? I mean, he's starting to nudge towards that world-class conversation, isn't he?
Didn't someone say that once? De Bruyne is world class.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Who would that have been?
No, I said I wouldn't pay to watch him about 2 years ago.
I'm joking.
Yeah, but listen, I'm not allowed to change my mind or get hammered on social media. Oh, now I've said I think he's the best midfield player in the world at this minute in time.
Yeah. Would you pay to watch him now?
Of course. Macca said this passing, some of the passes for those goals today. You listen to the boys on BT Sports Score, I think it was Jermaine Genius's game, saying about his passing. World class, best midfield player in the world.
The frightening thing is, sorry, Matt, is that they bring a couple of superstars off and then a couple of superstars just walk on and just join in. Instantly just join in. There's not like 10 minutes to getting involved in the game. They just come on.
And they've really missed Aguero as well, haven't they? And I think he's coming back shortly. I mean, it is phenomenal what we're seeing. They are taking the game of football to another level. And we've got the Champions League coming up as well now, haven't we, in midweek? And it really interesting to see how they do on all fronts, because it's a representation of our Premier League. And maybe the Premier League now is getting much better. Well, and can we now finally compete against the Real Madrid?
We'll see how they are against Napoli, because they're playing well, aren't they? They've got a game tonight, haven't they, against Roma, but they're playing well. It'll be a different type of game, because everybody knows their strengths now, Manchester City, aren't they?
And there is a strength. Benjamin Mendy tweeted, De Bruyne has more assists in one game than most of us in our entire careers. Too good. Incredible. You can put your earpiece back in, because I'm not sure how useful it is when it's halfway up your head. And
it was back in.
It keeps popping out. So frustrating.
We need to talk to the engineer about my earpiece. But
that's such a front.
Was it you, Joe? Was it you?
Right. Let's talk for the final few minutes of this evening's Premier League tonight, which has been great fun. We're going to talk about players you really miss. I'll get your thoughts in a moment, but first, as always, it's about you.
So which player leaving Leicester City has caused the most problems? Has to be N'Golo Kante. It's been devastating since he's left.
I'm a sentimental old soul and I still miss John Barnes. But bringing it up to the modern day, it's hard not to regret letting Harry Kane go as a youngster. What he'd do for Watford up front these days, anyone's guess. Luckily for Watford, we don't need him because Richarlison's on fire. Come on, you Ords!
Georgie Kincladze. What a player that he was. He was my hero back in probably 95 when he first came to City. £2 million. When you look at that fee now compared to the fees that are going around for a player of his talent, well, you'd probably just be able to buy Messi's shin pads with that sort of figure.
Last week, Ricky Lambert announced his retirement from football. And my word, Southampton could do with a player with him right now.
It will have to be Marcus Stewart. What a player he was. Easily the best player I've ever seen playing for Huddersfield Town. Flying towards promotion to the Premier League, we went and inexplicably sold him. Town went down to Division 2 and then down to Division 3 after that. We spent 20 years trying to get back to where we were when we sold that guy.
So Nate says Steven Gerrard, and Potato says it's Sir Alex Ferguson retiring. Potato. That's, you know what social media is like. Steve McManaman says Carpo, the player we missed the most at Liverpool. What about you guys? Was there ever a player that you played with and you heard a rumour they were leaving, and you just thought, I can't let this person go. I got to keep them here.
Christoph Dugarry at Birmingham. You know, that season he comes second in Player of the Year. He was absolutely fantastic.
Did you speak with him?
He tried to, yeah, but you know, he'd won the World Cup. He come to Birmingham, helped keep Birmingham up. You know, a legend, and he was that good. He was second in Player of the Year.
For me, it was Ian Wright, because I'd come back to the Arsenal in 93, 94 and been a part of such great successes. Yeah. And it was kind of at the end of an era in a way, and it was breaking up, and he scored all those goals. And it was, yes, Anelka had come in and we knew the successor was there, but Ian was like Eddie Murphy in the dressing room. I mean, it was laugh a minute. It was great fun to be around. And when he left, I thought, oh, you know, this could change. Yeah. We were okay. We did all right after he went, but it was a great person to be around.
There was no person I thought we were desperate to keep, but like Martin's just said there, I think the characters in the dressing room, and I always, you know, would say someone like Robbie Fowler at Liverpool, or Steven Gerrard at Liverpool, or even Jamie Carragher at Liverpool, that character of being, you know, a Liverpool-born player in the team, driving the dressing room forward. I think players like that nowadays, John Terry, even at, you know, at Chelsea, the lads at Man United, Scholesies and the Nicky Butts and all that, I think they're the heartbeat of the dressing room, and I think they're more sorely missed than most people, certainly for me.
And when you hear that a really good player is leaving your team, leaving your dressing room, how much is it a sort of selfish thought from a player where you're thinking, I don't want this guy going because I play in a better team with him?
Well, I remember the Nevilles when Overmars left Arsenal, and they were delighted. I remember England get-together, Gary was saying, thank God he's gone. And that's when it hurts you. When you lose a player of that calibre. And Mark Overmars was almost as if you never saw him travel. It was like someone picked him up and put him there. He was so quick. Yeah. And honestly, an absolute outstanding talent. And one by one, you're losing these guys, and can you still be as strong? Like Manu Petit was another great player. But you have to move on, and you have to embrace the next man that comes into play.
Talking of moving on, go on, you got 5 seconds.
What about you as a fan, Norwich?
Darren Huckabee. Darren Huckabee was just amazing to watch.
That's why he's got a lounge named after him at Norwich.
He has got a lounge named after him. Right, very quickly, let me tell you what's still to come on BT Sport, and it is going to be quick. First round draw for the FA Cup proper Monday night. The next weekend, it all revolves around Southampton and West Brom. That is it from us. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, thank you for your company. Another great Premier League tonight. See you in a week's time. Take care. Well done.
We concede with 5 minutes to go. Heartbreaking, but 10 men, good point. A tough place to go, agree?
Agree. I'll explain the suit, black my way into the posh suits today, and what a game it was to watch.
There isn't much that you can say after a 7-2 defeat. Awful day at the office for Stoke.
It's 0-0, but we live to fight another day, and I think it's a step in the right direction today from Liverpool.
It's happened at last. Spurs have won at Wembley in the league. It's a new low for Chelsea Football Club. Gutted, really gutted.
I mean, just when you think you've seen it all with Crystal Palace, you realise that you haven't.
That's all I can say! Woohoo!
This programme is sponsored